that we're in for a great time. I'm not going to take your time at all. So I'm going to breeze through the session and then I'll take a few questions. And then after that, we will meet sometimes in January by God's grace. Okay, yeah, so let me see who else. Okay, Oluwatobi joining from Canada. Okay, good to have you. Thank you very much for joining, everyone. Okay, so my name is Praise Fowowe, and I'm going to be just taking you on a very short journey. After that, I'll take a few questions and then we'll wrap it up, and then we'll see sometimes in January. Okay, Julius from the UK. Okay, Olabisi from Houston. Olabisi, good to see you. Good to see everyone. I am super excited that all of you are here this evening. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to put on my slides and I am going to be sharing the old concept of the out-of-the-box parenting licensing suite. For the first time ever, I am making available, all the researches, all my slides, all my body of knowledge in the parenting space in the last 25 years of my life. And it's because we're moving to another phase of the work, which is basically something I've been experimenting all year, wherein people have access to my materials and then they can use it to for their own practice, right? And so I am excited to have all of you on the call tonight. Well, at the end of this session, um, sorry, I think there's someone that is my admin, please, where are you? You should be able to mute some of these things. Please kindly mute yourself so that we don't have feedback. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so at the end of this class, you would have discovered, developed an understanding of what a future world looks like, figured out the critical battle lines, which I'm going to be sharing with some of you, the 7 common mistakes many parenting coaches make, and then you would have understood the out-of-the-box parenting framework that delivers exceptional result and find out how to take delivery of a 25-year content for yourself. Okay, so I want to welcome you once again. So just please pay attention. Titi Olubajo, good to see you. Okay, sorry. Okay, I don't know if you are watching soccer. I know soccer is over. Maybe there's American football or basketball. Just kindly give us like maybe 1 hour to 90 minutes and then we'll be done. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you. Please, you can put up your name on your chat, but I'll share my story with you. So my journey started, in the family life space many years ago. But precisely, getting into parenting coaching was more or less of a necessity than something I planned to do. It wasn't in the book. I didn't know that it was one of the things I was going to do. But what had happened was that there was a day I used to live in Nigeria. I was living in a place called Ajegunle. If you know Ajegunle, it's a densely populated area of Lagos, a ghetto precisely. And so I had completed my youth service. If you're not a Nigerian, youth service is a mandatory session that we all take when we graduate from university. And then I was taking a walk that night in a place called, on a street called Bale Street. And so when I was taking that walk around Bale Street, I barely started taking that walk that I noticed a motel. It was a motel, not a hotel, called Niger Hotel. Niger Hotel was on Bale Street. If you've ever lived in Nigeria before, you will know Niger Hotel. I saw teenagers who were prostituting. I couldn't believe, what I saw. And I got back home. I was blaming the government. I was very, very upset. I was wondering what was going on. Why couldn't government do something as a matter of urgency? Why would they leave those girls to be prostitutes? I was just ranting. I was very upset. I was livid. I put their ages between 13 to 17 thereabout. And then that night, as I knelt down to pray, I had a voice say to me, "But you can do something about it." I said, "No, I don't have money. Where will I get money from?" And then I had the voice again say to me that remember when you were a very bad boy as a teenager, that you used to brag that your favorite activity was to ask girls out and to go have sex. That remember that there were times that you meet a girl for the first time and you asked that girl out and she'll say yes to you, even though she had never met you before. I said, yeah, okay, said, go back there and talk these girls out of prostitution. So I was back there the following evening, these guys as a customer, and that was how I started talking these girls back, out of prostitution. I became so successful that I literally emptied that motel, that the owner of the motel, was very upset with me, and the man actually issued an injunction that the people should kill me if they saw me, and so I had to run away from that place. But as I ran away from that place, I spotted another zone called Good Evening Street. At Good Evening Street was very interesting because Good Evening Street was a world on its own. It was a place where different girls from different parts of Nigeria had sex every day. These girls were earning like they were making like 3,000 every day as profit, and then these girls were paying 900 naira for their bed space. And so, depending on the part of Nigeria you wanted to sleep with, there were Yoruba girls, there were Niger Delta girls, there were Igbo girls, there were Hausa girls, and they never mixed. So I went back there. I started teaching those girls. I literally set up a fellowship inside the brothel, right? Yes, it's being streamed on YouTube. I started, a fellowship inside the brothel, and I would hold fellowship for them every day. We will do prayer point. The prayer points were very, very funny prayer point. You will hear girls say things like, oh, I'll ask them what their prayer point was. They'll say, Pastor, you know that I need to have like 11 men sleep with me today to break even, or else they're going to throw me out. I won't be able to pay for my bed space. So those were their kind of prayer points. So it was an unusual fellowship. But gradually, I took these girls back home. Some of them, their parents were not willing to take them back. So the lot fell on me to find out where to place them. So I started taking them out, started rehabilitating them. Some of them will leave, they will get back. Some of them from their savings, they rented a house for themselves. But I noticed a common denominator. I must have interacted with over 200 girls. All of them were victims of child sexual abuse. All of them. All of them had the disconnection with their parents. So for the first time, I saw how the link between sexual molestation and learned helplessness. Because I used to think that prostitution was a matter of poverty, but that experience taught me that it was more than poverty. That for a girl to spread her laps for 11 men every day, something had gone wrong with her humanity. And learned helplessness is what happens when you hate what is being done to you, but you lack the power to stop it. So I knew that we needed to create content to prevent children from being molested. And that was my first work in Nigeria, research work, which birthed the most comprehensive sexual education kit with songs, with games, with lessons that went very viral across Africa way back. But as I solved that problem, I noticed that if we don't empower parents, to fortify their family, more girls are going to be molested and more boys were going to be molested. So I started the research work and I went to 13 states in Nigeria, and I noticed the same thing was the same thing. I met 7-year-olds who were sexually active. These ones were not even being sexually abused anymore. They were literally sexually active. I met an 11-year-old girl who wanted to follow me from Port Harcourt back to Lagos because she said everybody in the house was sleeping with her, right? I saw all kinds of things that broke my heart. And from that moment, I started gathering content, started teaching on relationship, started teaching on parenting. And that was how I found myself in the parenting space. Now, I understood all the theories of parenting, having studied a bit more, but I began to realize that if we don't create what we call a relevant parenting solution for Africans, then what we'll be doing is to recolonizing them by importing what cannot work for them, yeah, if we don't contextualize it, we will go to another extreme. And that's the extreme we found ourselves right now, where you begin to hear about terminologies like gentle parenting. I mean, humanity just likes to create something out of nothing, to make something trend, when actually the ethos of parenting is very simple. And so when I started working in this field, people told me nobody was going to pay me, right? And I agreed. Nobody was going to pay me since they didn't know me. But after a while, I realized that in my bid to force my way into the family life space, I realized that couples, it was hard to convince them that something was wrong with their marriage. But every couple I met did not want anything to happen to their children. So they were readily able to pay for me to help them parent their children and to solve their children's problem than for them to fix their own problem. So many of the initial couples I started working with, I had to use their children to get through to them, because parents don't mind being disgraced. They just don't want their children to disgrace them. Every man who is promiscuous wants to protect their daughters. That was what I found out. And so I was in business. And I realized that people could pay way back like 30,000 naira per session, and then I moved to the US after a while, having created all kinds of content, taught people my model, but nobody had access to many of my materials way back. Now, America was a different ballgame entirely, because the first session I held when I got into America was a parenting session, and it was a packed session. Now, that parenting session, I had advertised a solution to say, okay, I'm going to teach you for 4 weeks on how to set up a family that will feel proof, abuse and whatever, that will protect your children. And I was very upset because out of over 100 people in that class, only about 9 people signed up. And what I was charging was $250. I was very upset. And so I was grumbling to my cousin to say, can you imagine? Only 9 people paid $250. My cousin looked at me and said, Praise, you just got to America a week ago. You did a seminar. 9 people paid $250 for you. He said, boy, your solution is gold. And I was like, why are you talking like this? In Africa, I will have like 40, 50 people sign up for that class. And he said, no. He said, because $250 for people to drop it once is a lot. If you had said that you are giving them payment plan, it would have been easier. He said, but they dropped it? I said, yes. And that was how I started the business. And so over working in America, North America for 4 years, I have seen how people charge. I have seen the high, the mighty, the low. I have seen what parents are willing to pay. So I understand how to actually earn as a parenting coach. I know how to earn by simply running a simple assessment and showing parents where the problem is. And I see a lot of parents, they don't even mind paying anything. They just want ease of payment. So I can tell you for free that I know exactly how these things work. I know what people want to know. I know the problems parents are having, and I know exactly what they need to build to solve those problems. Especially people of color, our African brothers and sisters who children are likely going to be taken away from them because they are still going to keep parenting the way they parent in Africa. Here, they're going to beat a child and then they're going to call social welfare, and they don't even know how to respond because there's a way around those things, right? And so I know exactly what works. So I'm going to be sharing a bit of things with you about what our world is turning into, because let me be honest with you, if there is any group that can solve the problem of the world today, it's actually parenting coaches. Because all we need to do to solve the problem of terrorism and many of the problems bedeviling in our world is to help parents create a framework that can help them raise wholesome children. Now, having said all of this, I travel a lot. I get invited to come and do seminars, workshops. And I know a lot of you have done some certification, but then many of you don't get paid. Many of you don't get invited. There is a way around these things. And I wish there's a miracle that can make it work. But the name of the game is consistency. I tell people that in the last 15 years of my life, I have put out a content every day. Every day of my life, I have put out a content. And they're like, how do you do it? I said, well, you start by starting. There is no other way around it, right? Once you start, you'd realize that there's always what to write. And so over the years, I have gotten a lot of awards, both in America and outside of America. So I want to welcome you to this session, and I'm just quickly going to breeze through what you need to know in this class. Then I'll tell you how the licensing program works. And for those of you who are interested, we'll see in January. Right. So the future is about 2045. Everybody is talking about 2045, but I look around Africa and I realize that we are the only people not preparing for 2045. By the way, I don't just coach Africans, I coach multicultural. I mean, I was working with a Chinese lady just this week. So I work with various cultures, whether South American, Caribbean, Asians. I work with all kinds of people because the model I'm going to introduce to you work across board. Now, there's going to be a new world order. And that's why when you see the agitation all around the world, there is something happening. We've never seen it this way before, where there's so much agitation around the world. But what are they saying? They are saying that in 2045, Asians will be the dominant force, driven by China and India. Everybody knows that the next world power is China, right? Followed by India. Everybody knows that already. Now they're saying that Africa will be the rising giant, fueled by youth and resources. Let me explain this to you. Many people will see this and they will clap. Don't clap. What they have simply said in a coded language is that African children are still going to be the workforce of the entire world, which is basically slavery, right? We are the ones that will pick up the jobs. We are the ones that work in the mines. We are the ones that work in the tech companies. We are the ones that will learn how to code, but they're going to hire us and they're going to pay us some good salaries that when we convert it to Naira, or you convert it to Rand in South Africa, or you convert it to CD in Ghana, or you convert it to whatever currency your country is earning, right? It looks good, but then you're never going to own the company. That's what they have just said in simple terms. Now, South America is going to be potential energy and food powerhouse. Europe is going to be a stable but aging player with niche influence. You can see that in the UK already. North America will be a tech and military leader, but declining in relative power, which is America, Canada, and then the rest of them. Middle East will be the energy world, but limited long-term stability. Australia will be wealthy and strategic, but not a global major player. Now, there is, however, what the global culture of 2040 is saying. What the global culture of 2040 is saying is that Europe will lose its traditional culture. You can already see that that is becoming a reality already in Europe, especially with the invasion of Islam and then with the invasion of refugees. The culture of the UK is changing, and quite a number of other European countries. North America will retain some aspects, but will be highly globalized, right? And so you can see what the President Donald Trump is talking about, America First. He's bringing back a whole lot of things and trying to restructure a lot of things to say that America must retain its culture. South America and the Middle East, we have mixed outcomes, but still holding on to tradition. Asia and Africa will be the cultural stronghold that will shape the future. Now, the problem is this. Asia already have a template for raising their children. China has a template, compulsory. Every home knows it. Japanese have a parenting system. The Jews have a parenting system. The Emiratis have a parenting system. Africa, even though potentially we're supposed to be the cultural stronghold that will shape the future alongside Asia, but Africa does not have a framework. Africa does not have a template. Everybody is hoping to be lucky by how they raise their children. So we had a lot of prayers. We're spiritual. Everybody thinks they know what they need to do until a child runs into trouble. In the last 5 weeks, consistently parents have reached out about their children in North America who are hooked on pornography, right? And so we're working with quite a number of children, and some of these children are so beautiful, they're lovely, but their parents don't know how they manage to get into porn, right? And so the problem is that we don't have a systemic way of raising children, even though Africa of old used to have it. But something had terribly gone wrong with us, that everybody is just speaking whatever they see on social media. And what has happened over time is that there have been parenting coaches, there has been parenting speakers who are very loud on social media. They are very loud across on social media because of their power to engineer the algorithm. The only problem is that they teach do's and don'ts. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. At the end of the day, when you finish listening, parents are overwhelmed, because they don't even know where to start from, right? But you see, the problem is this. I can tell you, don't do this, don't do that. You may love it. You may decide not to do it, but if we don't uninstall the self-sabotaging software that has already been plugged within you, we'll tell you don't shout on your child, but you will maintain that for 2 days. After the third day, they are back shouting. I have successfully worked with a number of parents who don't need to shout anymore before they get in sync with their children. And there's a framework around that. So by 2045, they are saying Europe and North America will struggle to redefine their cultural identity, while Africa and Asia will be the dominant culture influencers of the world. Right, so that is the projection. And I want you to pay attention to that projection. So I want to congratulate some of you. If I ask you, if you are on this call, you have at least one certification on either parenting or family life, can you type I? You have taken at least one certification on parenting or maybe teen coaching or on family life or any form of coaching certification, can you type I? If you have not done anything, taken a certification, can you type no? Okay, I can see I can see all the eyes. I can see all the eyes. Okay. I. Okay, this is fantastic. Right. It looks like almost everyone here seems to have taken one certification or the okay. Rebecca has not. So that's the first no I'm seeing. Ibedo Tower. Okay. Looks like everybody. Doom Shark, you have not. Okay, so that's fine. Right. So let me tell you what is going on, because see, one of the things my mentor taught me, I trained under Dr. Miles Monroe directly. And one of the things he taught us is that if you want to create a solution that will stand the test of time, he said, always start from the root cause analysis. In fact, he would say to us, if you want to make any presentation, you want to create a presentation that will shock your audience, wow your audience, make them want to have more of you. He said, look at the topic and figure out the etymology of that word. He said, if you can find out the first time that word was used, the spirit of that word, the ethos of that word, you will create a groundbreaking solution that will stand the test of time. And that's what shaped my ideology. And that's why every time I create something new and I go to the market, a lot of people are like, where is this guy getting it from? How come he knows this? How come he knows that? And the framework is so easy to follow. Now, there is what is going on around the world. You can already see killings. Nigeria is faced with a lot of fears. All the news coming outside. In fact, if you are not careful, you would think if you land in Nigeria today, they're going to kidnap you. Right? So you wonder how Nigerians are living in there. So those of us at the diaspora, we are hearing more bad news than actually what is going on. So there is killing. There are wars all over Africa, all over the world. Banditry, terrorism, death of humanity. Because some people say that religion is more powerful than humanity. I don't agree. Sustained extremism, hunger, new immigration laws. Every nation is going to close down, right? Rise of AI, workforce reinvention, social media economics. There are new ways to make yourself popular if you know nothing. You don't even need certification. Just be able to engineer the algorithm, spend a lot on ads, be showing up every day, be controversial. You will become an influencer. Very easy. Now there's a new world versus the old world. There's fear mongering, and then there's the business of the fear mongering itself. In fact, there are lots of people who leverage on the fear of people to collect their money, right? That's part of the advertisement that is going on, right? But the question is, what's the problem? If you look at all the problem of the world right now, all of them are from a parenting problem. Now, how are terrorists able to locate children and turn them to suicide bombers? It's a failure of parenting. If parenting had taught those children to love their life, if the parents are taking responsibilities for teaching their children about their religion, instead of giving them over to some teachers who don't mean well for those children, it will be very difficult to recruit those people. So when children go hungry, when they find themselves on the street, when there is no adequate parenting, when they are already traumatized, it becomes very easy for anybody to take control of them. And that is what is happening. However, there is a bigger issue that you need to understand. The battles around the world as we have it right now is actually a battle of walls and gates. Right? Don't let anybody deceive you. It's a battle of walls and gates. And that's why your job as a parenting coach must not be done out of ignorance. It must be done out of a place of knowledge. So this is what is happening. Every family, every nation is supposed to have a wall. Every family, every nation is supposed to have a gate or gates. Now, so picture a wall in your mind. Picture a wall in your mind, right? Picture the biggest wall, the most fortified wall, right? And then picture gates that, let's say, 4 access gates into that nation or into that family. And let's say that, so let me ask you this question. So let's say that all of us on this call, we have made up our mind that we are going to rule the world, right? And we have sworn that we will never allow, all of us are going to become billionaires because we know how to become billionaires, and we are not going to tell anybody how we are going to become billionaires. And so to become that, we built a city and we surrounded that city. We built a wall that nobody can jump into. The wall is high enough. Nobody can penetrate that wall. You can't even throw a bomb and the bomb will enter that wall. And then, but there are 3 access gates to that wall, right? And so the 3 access gates is manned by 3 of us, right? And those 3 of us, you cannot bribe us. You cannot compromise us. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the enemy will be able to break into our city to figure out our secret? It's a yes and no question. Do you think they'll be able to break in and discover our secret? Okay, so people are saying no, no, okay, right. So the answer is no, they are not going to be able to do it. Now, for them to break into our city, somebody has compromised the gates, right? Somebody has compromised the gate, or maybe the wall has been broken down. Now, when a wall of a city, of a nation, of a family is broken down, what begins to happen is that foreign ideologies, imagine your family without a vision, television. Let's say you have no television, you have no internet, you have no means of knowing anything happening around the world. Everything you tell your children to do, they will do because they don't know better, right? But the moment they have access, your children will say, why are American kids talking to their parents like this? Why are they telling their parents to shut up? Why can't I tell my parents to shut up? What has happened is that a new ideology has been able to make its way into your family that is challenging what parents already know. And so that new ideology begins to clash with the old ideology, and then it creates a problem. Now, when the gates of our city is broken, is burnt down, then it means the enemies can come in. So what's happening around the world? So when you hear Donald Trump talk about, we want to erect a wall, we want to erect a wall at the border, it sounds very stupid, but then he knows exactly what he's saying. He knows, that man knows the significance of walls and gates. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. However, thinking back right now, he knows what exactly he's talking about. Now, in ancient Israel, is the same thing. So people need to understand that what has happened right now in our world is that the gates have been burnt down, and then the walls have been broken. And with the gates burning down, the walls broken, you don't know the difference between an African child and an American child. In fact, there are children in Africa who speak American English who have never been to America before. You have parents in Africa who dress like Americans. They ate everything Africa. What has happened is that the walls have been broken. Now they have access. And so here are the things that is going on. there are about 9 or 10 gates that every family needs to know, every nation needs to have, and then there's a tower that everybody needs to have. And each of them have a significance. Now, the first gate that has been burnt while we are in trouble globally is the sheep gate. The sheep gate is the spirituality of every family, right? The spirituality of every nation. Every nation has something they believe in, whether Lord Shiva, whether God Almighty, whether Allah, whether everybody has a true north, right, that they believe in. Once that is broken, the moral value of that nation goes into the dustbin. Once the moral value of a nation goes into the dustbin, even if that nation is prosperous, if that family is prosperous, they will still get into extremism. Why? Because there is no value system. Now, the second, once that gate is burned down, it means man no longer has direct access to God. And once God is out of the window, people will trade themselves for all kinds of things. People will snitch on themselves. People will trade their brothers. They will sell their brothers into slavery. Now, number 2 gate is the fish gate. The fish gate is the economy of the family. Once a family does not have good economy, their children become susceptible to prostitution. The boys become susceptible to fraud online and all kinds of things. So when you hear things like, oh, this boy went to kill his girlfriend because he wanted to make money, it's the fish gate that is broken. And so for some of you in the diaspora, if your economy is not good enough, your children begin to pity you. They begin to look for faster ways to get things done. Now, if your sheep gate is not intact, they will get out of your comfort zone and then they will be taken over by people who are doing drugs and what have you. Now, the third gate is the valley gate, which is the humility gate. Once that gate is burned down, nobody listens to anybody anymore. A child can look at a father and say, shut up, daddy, I don't listen to you, because the child is already bringing money home. He has now become the powerful person, an influencer, 17-year-old. So he has a girlfriend online. Everybody's clapping for him and his girlfriend. These parents have no say because they are poor. That's the boy sending money to them. So Valley Gate is burned. The next gate is the dawn gate, which is the cleansing and renewal gate. That's the place where if your family is in crisis, you can quickly run there and there will be restoration. Once that gate is burned down, mental health problem goes to the highest level. And so when you see children dealing with depression, that's actually the root cause. That's the gate that is burned down, because there is no place to exhale. There is no place to talk anymore. Nobody is being truthful. Nobody is being honest, because judgment has overridden empathy. The next gate is the fountain gate, which is the vision and refreshing gate. A lot of parents don't have a uniform vision. So imagine a couple parenting a child. Husband has a different vision from his wife. They have 2 different ideologies of raising children. They are going to be confused. So within the same family, you have a Republican, you have a Democrat, or you have a APC or PDP, depending on the country you're joining from, or you have a Labour and you have the Conservative. So the children see their father as a bad cop, mother as the good cop, because mommy is the one that says yes to everything. Dad is the one that says no to everything. And already there's division in the family. The next gate is the water gate, which is revelation gate. That when a child, every misbehavior, we say, can be traced to 2 things: a non-discovery of self and a non-remembrance of self. When a child forgets who he is, he's going to mess up. When a child does not know who he is, he's going to mess up. So that's what happened. When the water gate is non-existent, a child that is supposed to be a king will forget himself, and when they give him a wrap of marijuana, he will start to take it. The next gate is the horse gate, which is the readiness and warfare gate. The horse gate, is where parents are supposed to fortify their family. They are supposed to be able to wage war. That no, my child will not go bad. But these days, a child is going bad, parents are partying, right? And so they are not ready to wage a war. They don't even know how to wage a war against the onslaught of the media, because there is the media parenting right now. They can't wage a war against, messed up ideology that the children are ingesting. I feel sad every time that I watch content on Facebook content. Facebook content is 80%, especially the ones coming out of Africa, is 80% soft porn. Knock somebody, he sleep with somebody, have sex with somebody, he eats him from behind. That is all Facebook content is all about. And so what is happening is we parents have lost the war. Then the next gate that is burnt is the glory gate. So when you hear the term Ichabod, the glory has departed, what it means is if you were a virgin many years ago, it was a thing of pride. Now, so right now, in fact, virgins are hiding themselves. They are not proud to say I'm still a virgin because everybody talks about knocking. So the glory of virginity is gradually departing, right? That people feel cool to do whatever they want to do. And then in our shame, when you do things of shame before, you hide yourself. You don't want people to know. But then people find themselves dirty. So somebody comes on X and says we were in a polycool relationship. That's something that will never happen 20 years ago. You will never, two girls dating the same guy, having sex together, you cannot bring that on social media. But alas, that's what is happening. What has happened is that the East Gate is burnt down. Then you have the accountability and order, which is the inspection gate. That's the gate where we hold people accountable. I remember when my sister started working in the bank and she bought her first car. She brought the car home with a bottle of wine and asked my father to come and bless the car. My father refused to get down from his chair. And we were very upset and said, Dad, are you not happy for her? The first question my dad asked is, I know your salary on this bank job. You shouldn't have enough money to buy a car, right? So where did you get this money from, right? Because I don't want trouble. And then my sister explained that there was a bank loan that she got from the bank and you paid black small. It was until then that my father stood up. But what happens right now? A 21-year-old brings back a car home. The parents don't care where he gets the money from. They begin to dance. They start to dance. There's no accountability and orderliness anymore. Husbands cannot be held accountable. Parents cannot be held accountable. Schools cannot be held accountable. Then you have the Tower of Oven. The Tower of Oven is the educational system, domestic educational system, where children are refined and baked. So let me give you an example of a Tower of Oven that is burned down. Many of you, when you were younger, before age 12, how many of you has what we call household chores? Your parents gave you a chore that you did every day, either sweeping, washing up plates, or cooking. You had that before age 12. Can I see a yes? If you have the household chores growing up as a child, can you type yes, right? If you did not have any, can you type no, right? So all of us are the generation that has all those chores, right? So all of you add yes. You have all those chores. Now, many of your children, now let me ask you, do your children have the same level of household chores that you have? This exact household chores that you had growing up, do your children have that? If they do, can you type 1? If they don't, can you type 2? If your children have household chores they do every day, can you type 1? If they don't, type 2. So you can already see there's a problem in here, right? That what baked us, what made us resilient, we have abdicated that, we are now doing overwhelmed. So you see parents now tell you, my child can't do groceries. These children are killing me. I cook for them. I go to work. I still come back. They can't wash their dishes. Excuse me? Where did they come from? How did you raise them? Right? And so what has broken down is the way we were raised. We are forsaken about it. We've forgotten about it. And now we now have 3 house elves. Thank you, Lena. Right? 3 house elves. So the child sits down, is a CEO. In fact, when he's been taken to school, he does not sit in front. He sits in the owner's corner and he says, my driver. A child says, my driver. Right? And the parents are there. They are listening to the child saying he has a driver and they can't correct him. So what happens is we are no longer training children. And lastly, there's the last gate there, which is the old gate. It's the gate of wisdom and foundation. It's the gate of history. That when a people forget who they are, they forget their history, and they forget their identity and their language, those people have been totally captured. If I ask all of us on this call right now, how many of your children speak your local dialect or your mother tongue language, which was the first language you learned, you'll be shocked. Many of your children can't even speak those languages, right? And so if they can't speak your language, how do they know the greatness of your history? So if you sit with an Indian, Indians will tell you their history. Jews will tell you their history. Japanese will tell you their history. Africans, our history has been mortgaged with either Bible story or Quran story. There's nothing wrong with that, but you cannot live a life and forget about your grandfather, great-grandfather, and the greatness of what they achieved. So this is exactly the problems that we are dealing with. So we say that parenting is the greatest need in our world today. The greatest need that everybody has right now is parenting. And we need to ensure that there are parenting coaches in our hospitals, there are parenting coaches in our religious houses, there are parenting coaches in our educational institutions, there are parenting coaches in governance, in policy. Because if we don't take them from the foundation, there is nothing we can do. I mean, it says that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So here are 7 common mistakes many parenting coaches make. Number 1, many of us who have certification, we try to solve feelings, not systems. So you see a lot of parenting coaches online. This is why they are not effective. They coach emotion. They tell the people, oh, be patient. Oh, try harder. Don't worry. God will take care of it. Instead of diagnosing the root system failure in parenting dynamics, right? That if you can't take your client to understand the root cause just by rendering a simple psychometry, and you are able to interpret the psychometry, that your days is going to be long. Your journey is going to be long. You are just going to be any preacher who is saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, stop it, stop that. This is the first problem many of us are having. So we don't have a framework. We are not doing root cause analysis. What we are just doing is advisory. And that's not going to go anywhere. Number 2, they don't know how to sell transformation, right? Many of us, when we go online, we explain information, not outcomes. The client wants outcome. You need to be able to tell your client, when I'm done with you, your parenting journey is going to be stressless. When we're done with this process, you will enjoy parenting. In fact, your children will be your best friend and you will collaborate to do greater things. I know how to make that happen, right? And trust me, I'm not guessing, because I've done this for 25 years of my life. So my success rate is so high right now that I don't even advertise so much. People literally recommend me for jobs, right? So people don't pay for coaching. They pay for the promise of a better future. People pay, please remember this. So it's not enough for you to say, I'm a parenting coach. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. It doesn't mean they're going to come to you. You can get all the certification in the world. They're not going to come to you. You've got to be able to let them know that you're going to make their lives better. You know, when people meet me and they say, Praise, what do you do? I tell them I make your life better. They said, you make my life better. How do you do that? Then I'm able to explain. Every answer I'm giving, we elicit further questions from them. So you want to sell clarity. You want to sell peace. You want to sell connection. You want to sell legacy. You want to sell confidence. You want to sell wellness. That is the order, right? That we go from clarity to peace, to connection, to legacy, to confidence, and to wellness. And that takes me to number 3. Number 3 problem is model paralysis. Many of us, if I ask you, what model do you use for your parenting? If you can't tell me, most likely you are doing model paralysis. And so this is the problem. So somebody comes to you, and that's why in our ethics, we say there are parameters by which you stop working with the client. I have done it before. I've refunded my client's money because I was working with this client and I realized that nothing was working. And that was very strange because that's not me. Guess what I found out? So I asked her one day and her husband, I said, whenever we do the sessions, is there someone else you listen to? And they said, oh yes, that when they do my session, there's one prayer meeting they attend every Wednesday, and then they do deliverance every Friday. Okay. And so I took up the name of the prayer meeting, and I actually went personally to attend. When I saw what was being taught there, I knew why It looked like I wasn't so I really refunded their money and I told them, please go and stay in there. Many of us are given to too many models. So you listen to this, you combine it with this, you eventually have a constipation. You are confused about how to help your client. You're even confused about how to help yourself. So you understand you have been given a framework for parenting. Instead of you to practice it, somebody now told you, oh, you know, if you sow a seed of 1 million naira, your child is going to turn out right. Or if you sow the seed of $2,000, your child is going to turn out right. Oh yeah, come forward. There's an anointing that you'll be anointing your child. African people understand these things, right? And so they go for those things and they abandon the process and the discipline that can produce an outcome. So what I'm going to say to you is that if you have a model that you're sure of, that is standardized, stick to that model. Number 4, they are scared to charge premium. Many of you are scared to charge premium. So the price for insecurity, not value. You say, who will pay me that much? If you're already defeated in your mind, trust me, you're going nowhere, right? Parenting challenges affect a family for 100 years. Not 100 days, 100 years. Some of the challenges some of us are dealing with is a parenting failure. And if we don't address it, our children are going to fall into the same order, right? So you need to price like someone building a generation. Everybody I've worked with, they know. I don't build your parenting. I am interested in your descendants, right? I'm interested in your family 100 years down the line when you are dead and gone. 200 years, 500 years down the line. So when I'm doing some sessions and I'm asking people, can you picture what your next 500 years will look like? They can't see it, right? So they know that what I bring to the equation is totally different, right? So don't be scared to charge a premium, right? Number 5, they don't position themselves as a product. They say, I'm a parenting coach. Don't say you're a parent. That's a generic label. Anybody can say that. You need to differentiate your solution, right? I say to people, I make your life better. I transform your life. I make you smile, right? That's what I do. I know exactly what people want, the outcome they want, and that's what I say. So you want to build a signature methodology. You want to name it, right? And repeat it in every conversation. I don't call myself a coach. No, even though people call me coaches, what I do is more than coaching. And why my model is different is because in the academic world, they've separated a coach from a therapist from a consultant from a strategist. They've separated them. That's the way it works in the academia. Unfortunately, the client does not know the difference. The client wants to be okay. He wants to be well. So a client has come to you right now and he has told you his problem. You know what it takes him to tell you that problem. And you now say, okay, I'm going to solve this problem, but then I need to refer you to a therapist. I need to refer you. You are referring them up and down. They will not go again, especially if you are dealing with an African, right? And so you want to build yourself in a way that you are all encompassing. They can literally see that you are their one-stop shop. It doesn't mean you won't work with a team. It just means that within your framework, within your system, you have enough hands that they don't need to go outside of you. Number 6, not understanding the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement is critical. You need to know that there are rules to effective being a coach or being a consultant or getting the right client. There are rules to this thing. And so you want to understand the rules of engagement. And number 7, waiting for the market without setting up a tribe and a conversion system. Let me say this to you. If you are a parenting coach on this call and you don't have a minimum of 30 people that are in a closed group with you, right? That's maybe on WhatsApp, on Telegram, at least 30. That every day you are having conversation with them or twice a week, or in fact, for lack of a better word, if you don't have 30 parents that you are pastoring, let me use that word, because what you are doing is pastoring, right? You are doing Sunday services for them and midweek service. I'm just using that figuratively, right? You are teaching them something new. You are hearing conversation from them, doing Q&A, answering their question. If you don't have that group, then you are not ready. You have not started, right? The market is not going to come to you. You've got to build a team of believers. I mean, I have different groups, of people that receive something from us every day. I do a devotional right now. I just started that devotional, and already I think we're close to 200 who get that devotional every day, Monday to Saturday. In fact, I was shocked when I went somewhere and I went to Regina last week in Canada's Saskatchewan, and then somebody was saying to me that, Praise, your devotional is what we now use for our family every day. I couldn't believe it, right? And that's not the first person telling me that. I didn't know that there are people who, when I post it, they now sit down with their family to use it. Right? And so you need to have that. You need to have a group of people that you are talking to every day. If you don't have content, you can be picking that content and be sharing with them and be having conversations around it. Right? The future is cultivating your own tribe of clients who are absolutely loyal to you. People that you say, we are going to Singapore, they are going to rise and they're going to go with you, right? That is the first thing you want to do, because if you don't have that, you are just going to be talking to yourself on social media. Now, so if I would ask you, which one has been your greatest mistake out of the 7, right? Is it that you don't have a tribe already? You can put your answer on the chat box. I'm about to round up right now. So which of the 7 are you guilty of? For those of you already parenting coaches. Now, as you are putting your answer on the chat box, what I am sharing with you today is called the Out of the Box Parenting Licensing Program. And it's the first time ever that I'm sharing this. It's a model and a framework that I've used over and over and over again, which has worked for me, worked for my clients. And so I'm beginning to see a lot of parenting coaches who say to me, Praise, come and teach me how to create content. Come and teach me how to coach. Come and teach me how to do this. Come and teach me how to do that. I have coaches who work with me at the moment in North America, and many of them are excited to work with me. You know why? Because their job is made simplified. All my coaching notes they have. And so what they usually do is, if we have a parenting coaching program or time out with the children, they just know what to pick. And then they know this is an 8-step process. It's an 8-week session, right? They have a parenting script, all the things I've used over the years, right? And that's what we are making available for the next 1 year. So our mission is to raise the most competent group of culturally intelligent professionals, equipped parenting coaches who can help families transition from emotional parenting to system-based parenting without losing their identity. So we are helping a lot of families transition to a system-based parenting, right? And so the out-of-the-box parenting model, so when I left the, Esther, don't worry, we'll answer your question. When I left the brothel, this was the first thing I had created, which is the parenting quadrant. It never existed before, especially for people of African descent and for people who believe in God, that parenting can be divided into 4 quadrants. You have the seed owner. The seed owner is God. God is the owner of the child. I believe that every child coming into the planet, God owns them and God has sent them to solve a problem. Every time humanity grumbles to God or prays to God, God answers that prayer by planting a child in a family. Oftentimes, the child never grows to become what God has in mind, either because the parents have drifted the child, they have moved the child away from what God planned, or they don't even know in their ignorance. And they are not bad, they just didn't know, right? So the seed owner. The problem of the seed owner is that whenever I ask parents, what kind of child do you want to raise? They tell me a godly child. And I said, who is a godly child? Their definition of a godly child is almost always wrong. So they tell you a godly child is a child that is respectful, a child that is obedient, a child that is that. And I said, can you define a godly child? They say, godly child is a child that looks like God. And I asked them, what are the qualities of God? They say, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient, God is sovereign, God is loving, God is creative. Then I say, why are you not using the same qualities for your child? So they tell you, oh, a child cannot be omnipresent. How can a child be omnipresent? Then I ask them a question. Do you know any child who has a solution that is present everywhere all over the world? Then they mention Mark Zuckerberg. Then they mention Coca-Cola. I said that you are not even aware that your child can take on the world and can create what the entire world will use. You have already defeated that child because it's the law of the lead. So you as a parent, you are the aquarium. Your child is the fish. The shark cannot outgrow the aquarium unless you break the aquarium and throw the shark into the ocean. So that's the seed owner. The seed handler is the parent. A lot of the parents are traumatized, and so their projecting their trauma to the child. If you're a parent here, you are shouting. Every time you need to correct your child, you are shouting. That's the trauma response, right? If you are regretting parenting is stressful to you, it's a trauma response, right? And so many of these parents did not heal from their own childhood experience. So oftentimes, what a typical parent will try to do is they'll try to send their children to you. They don't think they have a problem. Just help us deal with this child. But there is no way you can deal with this child without the parents sabotaging what you're doing. So what I do is I ensure I run assessment that shows where the parents are, and then I'm able to help them navigate where they are back to where they need to be. And then there's a parent I'm coaching now that I'm going to do a son and daddy session, because the father doesn't understand the boy. The boy is upset with his dad, but then he's written a letter to his dad for the first time and is excited to do it. So I'm going to bring them together, right? So that's the seed handler. The seed handler is traumatized. The seed handler does not understand the seed. The seed handler is confused in many cases. The seed handler does not have a framework, does not have a system. So they do bad things to the child out of good intention. They mean well, but then they have done bad things. So take, for instance, a woman was telling me that she was playing with water when she was younger, right? And then her mother's interpretation was that she belongs to Mami water spirit. And so they took her to a prophet. Said the prophet took her to a mountain. They beat her. That when the beating became too much, she began to confess that it is true, that she goes to Mami water meeting, blah, 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 just for them to stop the beating. The prophet was now he's confessing. They began to beat her, say, we have now delivered her. She said they didn't deliver anything. Said that scar never left her. She became traumatized. So the seed handler is usually the problem. Then you have the seed environment. A lot of parents are good, but they have not created the ideal environment for the potential of the child to find expression. So we show them how to create the right environment and then to get the best interests of the seed. Then the fourth is the seed, which is the child. In the entire quadrant, the real problem of this seed is usually seed owner is not the problem. Seed is often not the problem. The real problem is the seed handler and the seed environment. And so our entire framework is built around this. If you understand this, you can hack any case, you can work with anybody, you can solve any problem. And so what is the licensing program? The out-of-the-box licensing program is a 13-week structured training for family life professionals, giving them full access to our slides, our template, our assessment, our coaching script. It includes a business model to generate income, tools to impact clients, and an Afrocentric framework rooted in systems thinking, but globally relevant. Like I said, I use the same framework to work with parents across the globe. Trauma is trauma everywhere. I work with Chinese clients, Japanese clients, UAE citizens, Brazil, it's the same problem across the world. It might manifest in different ways. It might wear another name, but it's the same problem across the world. So basically, what are the benefits of licensing? You are able to use a proven family systems engineering framework, parenting framework, access to premium coaching scripts and slides. So you have access to most of my slides that I've used and you can use them. Done for you assessment and template. You're going to be taught how to use the assessment to use for your clients, right? And the templates that exist on how to solve the problem. You can run your own paid workshops and courses using our framework, using all our slides. You can be recognized as a licensed out-of-the-box parenting practitioner. It's a 13-week parenting framework. It includes systems, intelligence, emotional mastery, cultural identity. Is backed by the family system methodology. It's weekly modules, workbooks, assessment, and case studies. So when you have clients, you can actually brand the workbook with the name of your company and then use by permission to use. It's yours. Whatever you charge is on you, right? And so the 13-week covers house cleaning, personal transformation, house cleaning. In fact, this is a framework you can use for any parent, and they will build a solid parenting system that will promote the best interest of themselves and their children. So it starts with house cleaning. All these things are already pre-recorded videos that you can watch and then understand how these things work. Then we're meeting to answer questions and to solve problems in class. So house cleaning, personal transformation, we go to understanding parenting, child discovery, how do you discover your child, creating the right environment, effective parenting and family communication. How do you help them design a family communication system that they don't have to shout? Family development system, how do you help them create a family educational system, which is the Tower of Oven, that can train the children and produce an outcome. Family relaxation, what is the environment they need to create to ensure that they deal with stress. Family constitution, how do you help them create a family constitution that is binding on them and generations unborn? Domestic management system, how do they set up their system in a way that is stressless, in a way that is excellent? Then they have the immigration system. How do they create a security system that ensures that no child is sexually molested, no child is abused, nobody is abused within the family, no external force, not in-laws can come in between the family? That's where you help them create that. Building an effective family tribe and culture, you're learning how to help them create a culture, how to help them create a tribe. So those are the 12 models that you're going to be learning week by week, right? Each module has got lessons, it's got assessment, and then we're going to take you through all those things starting from January. Now, there's economic blueprint of the model. So you're able to charge for private coaching using a methodology. You're able to charge for classes. You can run your own class. You can run your own boot camp. You can run your private coaching, bundle it with your existing service or create new offers. You can create this as new offers. You can brand it in your own name. You earn locally and internationally as a licensed trainer. Retainership by families and corporate organization. Organizations are moving from EAP. They are looking at corporate wellness right now. And this actually fits into one of the most important corporate wellness program. They're about coverage. Everything we are taking you through covers new rules of parenting, covers parenting trauma and healing, covers child development, personal transformation and healing, addiction. If a child is dealing with addiction issues like pornography and the rest of them, there is an 8-week framework we have that you'll be able to use as well. Multiple assessment for case diagnostics. I'll share with some of the assessments with you shortly. You're able to design an efficient family system, which is a 12-step process. Scripting a child for success. Email sequencing. We already have that prepared for you. Sales page content toolkit. You want to set up a sales page. There's what. So these are the assessments you're going to have access to. Parenting personality assessment test, parenting current position assessment test, congruent parenting assessment, child personality assessment, attachment style. We have some new assessment we've just developed, the family systems, adversity and foundational evaluation, which helps you test the child all around, especially if you have a child who is depressed, a child who is dependent on drug and what have you. And then you have the family STEM engineering self-identification test, which is also another test we just developed. Then you have the adolescence emotional and behavioral pattern assessment for children who have behavioral issues. So all these assessments, you're going to be taught on how to use them. And after that, you have ongoing monthly mentorship calls. So every month we're meeting, access to updated materials and content bank. So if we have new content, you can take from the content bank, group visibility and promotional opportunities, then quarterly refresher and advanced coaching around the year. You have access to all this. Now, the program pricing and licensing terms include all materials, access, and coaching, renewable yearly. So it's a 1-year licensing that we are giving out. After 1 year, you will need to renew the license, even though the renewal fee is not as high as I think it's less by $500 or something like that. Full licensing or upon completion of onboarding. So basically, you want to complete your registration, make payments securely, attend onboarding training session, and start transforming life through the Afrocentric parenting. So basically, these are some of the things you have access to. Access to entire out-of-the-box framework, self-paced videos, workshop and slides, workbooks and slides, speaking engagement slide, webinar slides and conversion templates, access to multiple coaching scripts that solves all sorts of problems, access to parenting certification program. For those of you who have not certified yet, you have not done any certification program, we will bundle some certification program for you that you go and take, and then multiple assessment, media launch plan, ongoing group support, and monthly training. I'm going to mentor you with my team and corporate wellness proposals and money-making opportunities, which we're going to be sharing. You'll get editable slides. So you have access to many of my slides, speaking engagement slides that you can use wherever you're speaking, whether you're speaking in Nigeria or you're speaking in UK, that you can use and adapt for years. So basically, it costs $2,000 per annum. If you're paying once, and then if you're paying in installment, 4 installments, it's $2,200. Right. So it's cheap enough compared to, see, you make your money back, basically. So that's it. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask me. If you have any question, I will take your question, right? So if you are interested, I'm going to share with you how to, yeah, so these are the two options. So you can sign up, right? You can sign up if you are interested. I will share with you a link that you can use to sign up. But if you have any question you want to ask me, feel free to raise your hand right now. Where's my admin? If my admin is there, okay, good. My admin has pasted the, that's the link. So you can use that link to sign up, indicate your interest first, even if you don't have money to pay. Just go use the link, put your name down first. And in January, we'll start the full program, early January, so that we can quickly complete it and then everybody can go and start making money. Right? But you will be in our network. If you have any question, you put it in the group. You have a speaking engagement, you don't know how to go about it, you put it in the group, someone is going to respond to you. We have all that. So that is the link. You can click on that link and then we'll take it up from there. So any question at all, if you have a question, kindly let me know. Admin, you can put your question on the chat box or you can raise your hand and then we will, if you raise your hand, we will call you. So anybody with a question, please feel free to ask right now. The floor is open. Okay? Who wants to ask a question? Please feel free to ask any question. Maybe I've shared something that you don't understand. Please feel free to ask right now. Do you have anyone asking a question? Let me see the chat box. Any question? Nobody's asking any question. Okay, looks like I've done a good job. Okay, is the licensing fee 20,000 after the first? No. After the first year is $1,500 thereabout. Yeah. So year two, it goes down. But year two, then there will be new materials for year two as well. Added materials. Yeah. But I mean, if you don't make money back, you don't need to renew actually. But trust me, you will, because we know how you make this money back for yourself. Okay. Any other question? Lina, I hope I've answered your question. So you can click on the link. Okay. If someone can subscribe now, let me see. If someone can subscribe, how does it mean we can't until after? I don't understand. I'm interested, but I'm not financially fit right now. So you have to wait till you're financially fit. This is a licensing program. It's not the usual training. What you can do if you're not financially fit, I have a lot of materials on YouTube that you can take advantage of right now. Licensing program is licensing program. I wish there's another way that I can help you. But right now, we can't. We don't do pay and get later. It's like John Maxwell's licensing program. Yeah. Okay. So you can avail yourself of the materials on YouTube for now. Yeah. So let me see. Someone is asking about a child. Let me see. As a parent, if you have a girl child who is not open, how do you handle her? There is no child that is not open. Everything works in the presence of rapport, right? So if you have resistance with your child, it means that you are not connecting with that child. And so if you're not connecting with the child, you might want to get the child to talk to a professional. You can get the child in touch with us, and then we'll help you psychoanalyze the child. Usually, what I'm going to recommend to you is very simple. Go and meet that child. in humility and ask the child, if the child were to rate your parenting, what would be the child's rating of you? Right? If the child says you will rate you 0, take the 0. And ask the child, how can you be a better mother to her? Right? The child will tell you, do this, stop doing this, stop doing, okay, I'll stop doing that. Right? And that is the first point of call. You take that and then you now ask the child, okay, so how can you help me become a better mother? And what will you be willing to do to ensure that I don't shout or I'm a better mother to you? Right? So every week, can you check if I'm getting better and better? If you do that, you will get through to your child with ease. That's the easiest way. But hey, you can take a course that can help you. Let me take Dr. Ayo. I'm not a coach, but these are definitely useful as a parent. Thank you very much. I'm not a parenting coach yet, but I'm interested in becoming one. How do I start? So that's the program. Yeah, that's the program you need to start. So when you sign up for this, we will now, part of what we will arrange for you later in the year is to get you a discounted certification program. We'll send you to where you do certification program, in addition to this, so that when you finish that or before you finish that, you're already practicing kind of. Yeah. So you can, that helps you. It solves that problem. Lena, you are raising your hand. Please unmute yourself. Lena, this isn't for parents passive or yeah, this is for coaches. It's not for parents, please. If you want a parenting program, we have a lot of them. Can you share some of the certification you talked about? Basically, you're going to go for parenting certification program, which is like a 10-week program. It's run by the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, very intense. We'll send you there to go and do that, and then you can get certified. This is a licensing. I'm wondering what platform the program resources will be available on. It's on a platform called Kajabi, so it's self-paced. All the things is going to be available on the platform. You will get access to that platform once you sign up. Yeah. Okay. Who is Lena? Can you unmute yourself? There's AA. How
Okay.
flexible?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, go ahead,
Good
Lena.
evening. Good evening. Excuse my voice. I've got a cough. I want to find out. So let's say if I sign up for the licensing program and I get clients, is there like a payment I have to make to the institute? Let's say if a course like if I want to run a parenting course with some clients, maybe it's like $100 or something. Do I remit something to the
You're not remitting
institute
anything,
or
please. You're not once
so
you're
just
licensed, you're not remitting anything. You are free to use any of
okay.
the for the next 1 year. Yeah. So
Okay.
everything you make is yours, kind of. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you. And
Yeah.
is there a recommended fee or it's up to me to charge?
Well, it's up to you to charge whatever you want to charge, but in the group, you can ask for recommendation and we'll recommend to you. Yeah. So, for example, if I were to be licensed right now, I already know where I'm going to go to make my $2,000 back. I can actually do that in 1 week. That's the truth. Right. So,
Okay.
sir,
Thank
how
you.
flexible is the curriculum? Are there specific elements that must be delivered exactly as written? What support is provided during the first few deliveries? Yes, during the training session, we're going to observe you. Right. We're going to observe you. So the training session is actually practical. Right. People are going to break into groups and then you're going to deliver and then they're going to rate you. Yes. So we need to be sure because you're going to be working with the slides. We need to be sure that you're delivering exactly based on what. That's why you have self-paced videos that you have to watch before you come to class. Yes. Thank you very much, Nene, for that. Okay. Looks like I am done. Right. So if you are a parent and then you have a question, you can shoot me a mail, or maybe parents, you are not, maybe this program is not for you. You want to talk to me, you can shoot me a mail on that email, or you can send me a chat on +1 817 881 7269. Yeah. Yeah. What days will be the classes? It will be weekends. Yeah, so that everyone can have access to it. It will be weekends because we're going to be dealing with people from different time zones. Yeah, so it's going to be weekends. Yeah. So is there only one start date for licensing or no, 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 no. The licensing training starts in January, right? And Once we're done with the January bits, I think we'll have one more. I think it's going to be twice a year, right? Because we can't be doing it all the time. Okay, so that's it. That's it from my end. Thank you, everyone. If you have any issue that bothers on parenting, maybe non-licensing, you can shoot me a mail or you can just talk to me. Is ongoing supervision or mentorship with that, with the you included, and what is the fee structure? So if you are licensed to use whatever, you are all going to be on in a group. I'm in that group as well. So if you want to talk, we will talk everything that has to do with the licensing. Right? If it's outside of the licensing, that's a different ballgame entirely. Everything that has to do with your parenting coaching for the next 1 year, you can ask questions there. You have people answer you. Yeah. So that's. Ayoluwa Adedeji, please unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Where is the person? Ayoluwa Adedeji. Can you unmute yourself? I can't. Admin, please, can you allow people unmute themselves? Ayoluwa, you have been, yeah.
All right. Thank you, PF. Thank you for this eye-opening session. I was trying to ask my question in the comment section. My question was that if we can't subscribe now, is there any avenue to join to subscribe before the year runs out, or do we need to wait for a whole year before we can make payment for the licensing? That's my question, sir.
So if you don't make the first group, the first set, you can make the second set. There will be another set later in the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Looks like we're done. I want to appreciate all of you for showing up. I hope to see you in class. For those of you who are parenting coaches who want to be licensed, and for the others who are just parents who need help, who need support, hey, we are available for you. We will help you. We have other platforms which will send you a mail if you register for this program. If you need our daily devotional, that's free. You can have access to it and use it for your family. And any other thing we can do to help you, you can go on YouTube. We have a lot of materials and resources there. But if you're a parenting coach, you want to be licensed, please go use the link and then just sign up or register. Just put your details there. We'll send a mail to you and let you know when the class is starting. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic evening, and thank you very much for joining me. If you are in Nigeria, I arrived in Nigeria this week, and then I'm doing a 2-day lockdown program on designing the life of your dream on the 12th and 13th of this month, right? You might want to catch up with me somewhere in Lagos. I love you all. Have a fun